Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
They say it's the economy, stupid. No doubt about that. As we reach the midterms, ladies and gentlemen, they are up on us. It's already, halfway through August? So you got September, October, and then, the elections are here. So literally not much past 70 days or so. And we'll see what happens there. But I'm convinced that it's not going to be pretty in any case, because socialists seem to be winning all over the place. Joaquin Jeffries was asked about this over the weekend, and he basically said he doesn't support the extreme socialist camp in the Democratic Party. He doesn't agree with them on issues. At the same time, he's pretty much all fine for them winning in elections. So go figure. That's a very strange reality check. But folks, I'm telling you, I'm not really defending the status quo of what the conservatives have supposedly accomplished. They've failed us miserably, but they're way better than the socialists that are getting elected. I can tell you that right now. Let's take gas as an example. It's a big concern, folks. It's above $4.07 a gallon on the average right now. They say that this time in August, it's never been higher. So in other words, they compare seasonalities. And by August, this time, gas has always been lower than this number. It's 407, and they say for over 103 days this year alone, it's been at or above that number. That's according to, what do they call that thing, AAA or whatever it is? AA's National Gas Average, whatever it is. It's not AAA, it's just AA, I guess. Anyway, very, very strange stuff, right? Anyway, I don't know how to handle it. I guess it's Gas Buddy that's kind of putting that information out. But gas is through the roof, folks. And the thing that you got to understand about oil and gasoline is that it really relates to the cost of everything. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're buying. Clothes, food, supplies to improve your home, whatever. Gas is what it takes to get it into your hands. And so the cost is everything is more expensive. And it's disaster, folks. So just be aware of that it is the economy. And Trump can say the economy is doing fine. Look what we're doing. He can say all that he wants to. But what the average American sees is when they go to the store, when they go to a restaurant, when they go to, and so now he promised, no tax on tips. And a lot of people now are reviewing their paychecks and going, I don't see a difference. And they're like, yeah, it hasn't hit yet. Okay, well, when's it going to hit? See, if it hits after the election, it's nothing but promises that we can't substantiate yet, right? Anyway, they say the second headline relating to this is not only is gas prices so high, not only are we in trouble there, but now they say petroleum, the reserve is at a 43-year low. They say strategic petroleum, 43-year low, with experts warning of storage damage. The reserve fell 6.1 million barrels to 298.7 million, and that's a disaster. Now, Trump is even trying to release some from the reserve to go ahead and ease prices, but that has a problem because, hey, we don't have gas available. Pretty soon there won't be any buffer for Trump to relieve prices by releasing some because we won't have any extra. Now, it's debatable in the first place if government should be having a reserve in the first place. But we've depended on that reserve to kind of ease the burden as things have ebbed and flowed. Remember, you got a cartel that runs the oil around the world. And why we need oil from around the world and why prices are going up in America, I don't really know. So that's the issue where we're supposed to have this, protected system in America where we don't depend on all these people. Remember the independence idea that America stands for? We don't have independence in America. We depend on everybody in the world. That's why they're trying to, work on Venezuela so hard. So we have kind of a backdoor to oil, right? But we could get oil in our own country, but we're too busy shipping our oil overseas instead of using it ourselves. Oh, well, Sam, it's not refined enough. It's hard. It's great oil, but it's harder to refine, and we don't have the facilities to refine our own oil. See, where do we have this misalignment, folks? Why are we so interdependent with all these countries of the world? It's a serious problem. right? It's a serious problem. Trump ordered 173 million barrel release in March of oil. But now we have a serious low number of reserves when it comes to oil, or a low volume. We've got ourselves, we've depleted tons of our military capability. You think all that bodes well? I don't. Now listen to this. The next headline really hits the economy hard because it applies to everything that I've been telling you. Remember how I said oil is at the heart of all cost increases right now? Headline says this: July retail sales post their biggest drop in more than a year as consumer sentiment falls. That means people don't have trust in the economy. They're starting to spend less because they see the writing on the wall. Not only are prices way too high, but they don't have money. People are going, I can't afford it. I can't buy them. I can't do it. So this is the proof that what I'm saying is correct. It doesn't matter what you do. If when I go to the store, I feel like I don't have enough money or I can't afford the costs, the prices that I see, then I'm going to pull back. When I pull back, then what happens? It cripples the economy. Retail sales fell 0.6% in July against expectations of a 0.2% rise. The University of Michigan consumer sentiment dropped to 51.0 in August, down from 55.2 in July, with expectations rising to 4.3%. So in other words, people are going, this isn't working for me. It's just not working. It's too expensive. I don't know what to do. And people are starting to panic. Now remember, we're approaching October in not too long. And if this midterm is any indication, it's going to be wild and woolly. Do you think we're going to have an October surprise? That certainly won't help if we do. I don't mean to be so negative, folks. I really don't. I'm just telling you, though, that when you see this, you kind of go, where do we go from here? Unless we can get serious oil supplies, it's going to get bad because we don't have the reserves we used to have. We don't have the ability to put our own oil online. Where are we going to get it? All talks are off now. The whole battle, the whole debate was over the Straits of Hormuz. We say we control it. Donald says he controls it. Iran says, what are you talking about? We control it. Who do you believe? Then Trump says, hey, we're about to make the Strait of Hormuz a territory of the United States. What does that even mean? He made a weird offhanded comment like that with no explanation. No one knows really what he's referring to or what it means or how we're going to handle it. What do we do with all that? It's very, very strange indeed. But back to the economy, what's going to happen? Unless we start driving a whole lot less, we're not going to be able to handle our oil crisis that's coming. It's not a crisis because there's no oil. It's a crisis because instead of working on being independent and using our own oil internally and making sure that we could refine that and have that online, we've depended on the foreigners to the point where now our reserves are low. China planned for it. China's working on some overland deals to make sure they can keep their supply chains happening. But our supply chain to the war is so long, and our supply chain for oil is so long, where we're in serious trouble. And with inflation through the roof, with interest rates through the roof, with interest on our debt never ending, we're spending big, big money on interest. It strips every other budget line item now in terms of cost of anything. So costs are going through the roof. What is the answer? War's not going to help, but I don't see the war ending anytime soon. There's no off-ramp that I see. There would be if it would turn to Almighty God. If the president of the United States would go to prophets around the world and say, hey, what should we do to have peace? And listen to the guidance from prophets of God, we might make some progress. But we're not repenting. We're not turning to God. We're not asking for solutions. We're just simply going our own bullheaded military-industrial complex way. And we're about to hit the midterms with the economy in very difficult circumstances. They say, well, Sam, the unemployment rate dropped a little bit. Yeah, for reasons that we haven't discussed. It wasn't that more people have jobs. It was that more people have decided they are out of the workforce for good. So if you don't count those people have decided they're giving up, right? Right now, we have a big concern about young men, working age men, 16 to 45 or whatever you want to call it. They're not working. And that's a big problem because what do they do with their lives? They used to form families and work and take care of others, giving them responsibility and dignity and honor. They don't have that now. The repercussions of that are serious indeed. Hang tight. I'm Sam Bushman.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Why don't we say to the government writ large that they have to spend a little bit less? Anybody ever had less money this year than you had last? Anybody ever having a 1% pay cut? You deal with it. That's what government needs, a 1% pay cut. If you take a 1% pay cut across the board, you have more than enough money to actually pay for the disaster relief. But nobody's going to do that because they're fiscally irresponsible. Who are they? Republicans. Who are they? Democrats. Who are they? Virtually the whole body is careless and reckless with your money. So the money will not be offset by cuts anywhere. The money will be added to the debt, and there will be a day of reckoning. What's the day of reckoning? The day of reckoning may well be the collapse of the stock market. The day of reckoning may be the collapse of the dollar. When it comes, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it has happened repeatedly in history when countries ruin their currency.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how I've told you that the Jeffrey Epstein thing concerns me? And the reason it does is not only has there been no real accountability for the crimes committed, it wasn't only Jeff. There's a big network out there. And yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail in a very peaceful, posh situation, protected by the Donald so far. He moved her from Florida to Texas into a very comfortable place from what we understand, and, you know, etc. She's not talking unless she gets a deal from the Donald. And, Jeff's supposedly gone. We don't know what's up with Jeff, and no one's really creating accountability. It's kind of, Donald was for releasing all the stuff. We released it, but we didn't get any real names. It was all redacted and confused. And, well, everybody's kind of guilty, but no one's really completely guilty. It just looks bad for everybody. And we don't really have a list. And, they've gone back and forth. Kash Patel hasn't done anything at all. And now the Epstein files are in turmoil and everything else, right? Well, it gets worse. Because I told you, and I've warned you, and I've said this is the real problem. I don't believe the Jeffrey Epstein network got shut down when Jeff did whatever. Okay? When Jeff died, or they pretended he died, or whatever. I don't know what really happened with him at all. I really don't know. He might be alive. He might not. I just don't know. Okay? But what I do know is this. The network that he created did not just go under. Look, when a crime boss leaves for whatever reason, somebody always fills the vacuum. Sometimes it's a power struggle behind the scenes and you don't know, but at the end of the day, somebody is at the helm. It doesn't just go away. I wish it would. And even if one crime syndicate goes away, there's always another that rises to take its place. Well, we've heard nothing about any of this, nothing whatsoever. But now we're starting to see little tidbits leak out to tell you that it's live and well. You don't believe me? Check this out. White House aide caught in bizarre yacht video as foreign lobbying questions swirl. Interesting headline, right? Who am I talking about? Senior White House aide Lynn Patton. I don't know who this lady is, but I guess she had a video that was recorded on a yacht, a Florida yacht, by the way. It shows her tossing and kicking around a sex toy following a February 26th, a 2025 black tie charity event at Mar-a-Lago. So they had this black tie event, and she repeatedly asked while she was kicking around and playing with this sex toy on the video, don't show people's faces, don't show faces, okay? Don't show faces. Well, the existence and basic circumstances of this, in my opinion, immoral video have now been reported by multiple outlets, okay? So it's not just me. All right? Now listen up, because here's the critical tie that matters. You know how everybody said Jeffrey Epstein was not just a sex guy, not just into perversion, but he really pulled the strings internationally for all kinds of critical issues? So listen up. They say the video's bad enough, but the potentially more consequential issue isn't the bizarre yacht video episode at all. It's Patton's relationship with a guy, right? Washington lobbyist Ryan Coyne is his name. Coyne, Coyne. Ryan Coyne, okay? So now this Patton lady has this relationship with Ryan Coyne. The original report says that Patton has stayed at Coyne's multi-million-dollar Virginia penthouse while serving in the White House, and that Coyne has accompanied her to political and government official events. The article says sources deny the relationship is romantic. Okay, nothing's been official until it's denied, right? The White House maintained that Patton complied with ethics requirements. So the White House is saying, hey, she's all good. Government records confirm important pieces of the government's story. So a lot of this is true, okay? So what gives? Patton is currently a deputy assistant to the president for coalition policy and engagement. That's according to the White House's 2026 staff report. The Justice Department records also confirmed that Ryan Coyne worked in conjunction with Tactics. It's Tactics COC LLC is what it is, I guess. Tactics COC LLC. It's representing Vietnamese interests, although that relationship was terminated July 31st, 2025. So you got this Coyne guy that's working with a Vietnamese who's now hanging out with Patton, who's involved in sex toys on a yacht. The DOJ records further show that the CRC Global LLC is registered as a foreign agent firm with filings involving international government, foreign government ties with the Somalis. So you say, okay, well, what's that have to do with it? These are the guys, the Somalis, that are ripping off America with every scandal under the sun, right? That makes the real question much bigger than this embarrassing party video. Whether a senior White House official is involved with, a personal association with, living with, someone engaged in foreign government work. Foreign influence work, right? It's an ethics and a security concern, big time. The question is, hey, is everything that really needed to be disclosed actually disclosed? Or was the Trump administration punked and they were told, oh, we filed everything, we're good, when it's not true? Don't know. The available evidence confirms the foreign agent connection, but it does not establish yet that Patton violated federal ethics or security rules. The White House, of course, has defended her, calling her a valued longtime aide. So let me get this right. You got this lady playing with sex toys on a yacht, telling people not to show faces. You got her then living with this guy that's this foreign government lobbying international operative. And it turns out that Coyne is the one that's recording this video for her. So he's on the yacht with her while she's playing with sex toys. But yet they say there's no romantic relationship whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of that? Are you buying it? And then they say they've disclosed everything. She's on the up and up. She's weird with sex toys, but don't worry about that. She's on the up and up with all the filings and ethics issues. It's all good, people. That's what we're told. Are you buying it? Because I'm not. I'm not buying it at all. In fact, this is a very strange kind of illustration of what we see in the Jeffrey Epstein scenario, where he was involved in all kinds of weird sexual whatevers. I don't even know how to go down that road. But then he was also tied with international manipulation and control. He had people all around the world that would do his bidding, right? So now you got to wonder, is Ryan Coyne and is Lynn Patton involved in the Jeffrey Epstein continued network in some way? I don't know. But to miss this is a colossal failure in accountability here. They're involved in sex weird stuff on yachts. They're saying cover faces so nobody gets caught, but they got caught. You got Ryan and this Patton people living kind of at the same house, or she's staying with him, but they claim there's no sexual relationship, but he's filming her playing with sex toys. And then we tie this to the international concern of, quote, government lobbying, right? Washington lobbyist Ryan Coyne, who's got all kinds of international ties, right? So what gives? I think foreign lobbying questions are the biggest issue here, but the tie between weird sex stuff and foreign lobbying is now made right here. And we basically realize that's what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, that exact thing. So whether this is tied to that or not, I don't know. But it certainly smacks of the same type of abuses to a T. So here's my question. Who's going to tie this together except for me? And who's going to call a halt to the con game and say, we got to dig into this? Are they the ones taking over for Jeff? Are they a low-level hanging fruit that can lead to those who are taking over for Jeffrey Epstein? I don't know, but we're a fool to pretend it's not. Now, Donald Trump at the same time saying there's no harm, no foul here, no problem. She's a long-time trusted aide. Do you want a long-time trusted aide involved in high levels of our government, tied to foreign lobbyists, where they've got sex tape evidence? Now, that's all we see. Is there more evidence of her being involved in more? Is she compromised? Do they have her blackmailed? Do they have Ryan blackmailed? Do they have the White House in turn blackmailed? These are serious, fundamental questions that must be asked and dealt with. But I got a question for you. Who's asking these questions except for me? I don't know of anybody. Do you hear people asking about this all over the place? White House aide caught in bizarre yacht video. Foreign lobbying questions swirl is my headline. Okay, is anybody really digging into this, putting these ties together and going, what on earth is happening? You might say, Sam, it has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, maybe. You might say, but all I can tell you is if you've got this lady that's a high-level aide tied to a foreign influencer, tied to sex acts, but claiming there's no sexual relationship, but she's staying at his house. This is the strangest thing in the world, folks. It's like Ghislaine saying nothing happened. Jeff was fine. I'm not buying it, are you? Just thought I'd bring it up and tell you the truth. We better dig in or we're being punked once again, my fellow Americans. All right, there you have it. Another hour in the can of hard-hitting news that networks refuse to use style radio. Spread the word, libertyroundtable.com. We're available on Truth Social and Rumble and YouTube and everywhere. Radio and TV videos. Check it out. See what you think. Support us if you can at libertyroundtable.com. I'm Sam Bushman. God save our constitutional republic.